So this wedge did not fare well in our initial testing. So we took it into the shop, grinded the living hell out of it, and let's see if we fixed it.
Be the right club today. Yes!
What's going on, guys? G2 here with 3-Putt Bogey, and we are going back for the last time to the Maltby DRT wedge. Now this wedge we did a review on, as well as some other new clubs that came out for Maltby this year. If you want to see some of those before you go down this route, I'll link them up here as we go through the video. But this one in particular, the DRT wedge, I had a lot of good hopes for this. Now we fixed, this is a complete makeover of this wedge. It did not look like this before. We didn't touch the face, right? We had a big issue with center of gravity. The center of gravity on this club was way on the heel side. I was not a fan of that. I'd like it more middle or toe. So we went to grinding, and we also did a video on that as well, which will flash up here on the screen as we're going. And we took off a ton of weight here from the back. You can kind of see here, that's the grind line, plunge grind, that line that we put in there. As well as we took off from the toe, we took off heel relief. Because of all the grinding we did, we found out that this wedge actually has you can see we ground right through the metal into this powdery white substance that was not cocaine, which we found out. It is a powdered ceramic weighting that Maltby is using to adjust the weight of the club, which explains why the center of gravity was so much this way and down. I was able to get, just through grinding alone in that video, we were able to get the center of gravity to about here-ish along this line. And then I had an idea to take weight from the hosel. The hosel is extremely long. Not long for a wedge, but the depth of the hosel only went to about here. So I grabbed my milling drill bit, and we flat drilled this probably another 1/4 of an inch to 1/3 of an inch down. So this hosel now sits really deep, but we took off a ton of weight. And because of that, we were able to move that center of gravity out to just about here. This is perfect. That's exactly where I like it. It gives me the options to open it up and still ride along that CG line. If it's in here, you can't really do that. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to take it out to the range and see how does it feel. I can tell you right now, we took off probably 50 grams. It started at 308, and we finished on a total head weight of 257. So a little bit more than 51 grams. And the head definitely feels lighter than it did. We also have a pretty thick mid-size grip on here. This grip alone weighs 67 grams, so that is going to make the head feel a little lighter anyway. So before we decided to take it out, we did a heat treat on this, a bluing heat treat. You can kind of see it's got that bluish tint to it because, why not? So let's show you how it performed on the range. So clearly freaking out a little bit, right? Because those sucked. Let's be honest. Looking at the video now, it clearly looks like I'm holding the club face closed, but I promise you that club face is open. That's the toe of that club, and the way that the slope is on the back of the club that makes it look like it's addressed closed. But I had to remember that the club is much lighter, right? So I was doing a very kind of long, methodical stroke with that, thinking that I had weight to kind of help that ball up, and I did not because I got rid of all of it. So let's see what happens when we try a shorter, faster stroke. All right, so just some basic little, maybe 15-foot chips here, and we're starting to get the hang of it a little bit. Now we're going to go a little deeper here. This is about a 25 to 30 foot, we'll call it a pitch shot. And I'm right on this stupid ridge. Like, this whole green has 2 ridges on it, and I picked the 2 worst spots to chip from, and this is one of them. It just pushes everything left, but it was where I was aiming. And I'm starting to get the feel for it a little bit. It still feels a little clunky, not as crisp, but the results aren't horrible. So we tried a little tie spinner here, and that actually worked because of the sole. Now, flop shot. I couldn't hit a flop shot to save my life with that club. First time, flop shot, no problem. So we went for a buried lie here. We're going to go toe down, kind of chop it and rotate it out, and comes out great. Here we're going for about a 35-yard, we're going to call it a pitch shot, and this is probably the best set of 4 out of the whole session. I mean, every single one of these end up inside of 5 feet, and they roll, they take the slope. We're on a good side of the green, obviously, but all those came out perfect. So let's head over to the range. So let's start out with a couple little 3/4, which would be like a 50 to 55 yard shot for me. That white disc is right at 57 yards. So we're going to amp it up a little bit, go to an almost full. This is probably an 80%, what I would call my full wedge, with a 56, which goes about 85 to 95 yards, somewhere in that range, depending where I hit it. So we're going to finish off with 100% wedge shots, a shot I would never hit on the golf course. And interesting thing here is the trajectory was much lower than the 80%, and I'm going to attribute that to the weight that was lost and moved around, to the ball just didn't get that spin. As much spin when you swing harder, it just didn't get it up in the air as much. So all in all, I have to say the improvements were made, and we definitely saw a much better performance in the club. With that being said, again, this is a project you probably don't want to do to this magnitude, because we definitely saw a decrease in performance in terms of the trajectory when we went to the full shots. I think there's something to it, obviously, about center mass and making it fit your game. But to this extent of how much we took off, it's a little bit on the over the top end, and I think you all would agree. Custom grinding the bounce of your club, using the tape to see where you're impacting and trying to take those spots down so that you can impact with a flat leading edge or a square leading edge. Definitely something that you can do, and I think it's definitely something that's beneficial and worthwhile. We just wanted to stretch the limits here and see, can we fix this? And I would say we got about 88% there. If I was to do anything more to this, I still would take more bounce off. It's still a little bit too much bounce for me. And I would probably add weight to the toe. I think that's what was missing for me in terms of the feel of those shots. But a little bit of lead tape or something to the toe, I think would be great. But I want to say this is successful. The moral of the story, again, is always to get fit and get the right club to begin with. Yes, you can do these things at home, and we're showing you how to do them. Do you want to do it and spend the time and go through all of that? If you think it's worth it in the end, then sure. And to get the experience, right? Something fun to do. Get you in the garage, get you away from people in the house. So I'm just going to leave it on that. Until next time, make sure that you swing as hard as you can just in case you hit the ball. G2 out.